Well, good afternoon. I'm Ron Aaron Eisenberg, and I'm delighted to welcome you to the Global Pain Association's Chronic Pain Education Series. We've been doing these since last May. We come to you now every week and bring you a topic that revolves around the whole issue of individuals struggling with chronic pain. How can they find relief? How can they deal with day after day after day of pain that it overtakes their lives? And that's what we deal here with the Global Pain Association. And it is a pleasure for me as the host and moderator. I've had a lot of experience hosting and moderating medical shows, and am delighted to have learned a tremendous amount over the last many months about chronic pain. Today's topic, chronic pain, is a family affair. We have a very special guest, Dr. Julie Strench, Chief Program Officer with Roy Maas Youth Alternatives. She'll be with us in just a moment. But first, I want to welcome the driving force behind the Global Pain Association. Her name is Susan Blackwood, and Dr. Blackwood is president of GPA. It was her idea, and we're seeing her now. And thank you very much, Susan, for putting together this amazing group of topics.
Well, Ron, it's been a real team effort. We have a board and advisory council. All volunteers have done an amazing job. And we could not do it without the Eisenberg Group. For you to put this series together since May and all the time and effort you put into it, we really appreciate it. And now we have over 49,000 people that we've reached. And it's exceeded every expectation we could have had.
That's a big number, 49,000. Where are they?
Well, they're watching us on Facebook today, I hope, or they're going to be watching it later on because it stays on Facebook Live and on our website and our YouTube channel. And hopefully people that are watching it will share it with others, because these are such great tips from great experts and have really made a difference in people and their lifestyles and how well they can live with chronic pain.
And how does the Global Pain Association put this together? Where does the money come from to get the program together and to get some of the experts?
Well, we've had incredible sponsors, both for our live event last year in 2019, and since we put this series together in May, as we were unable to meet in person. And there are vendors and donors and people that believe that we can help people with chronic pain by finding alternative resources for them to be able to manage their pain.
Well, I'd like to invite those who are watching now on the Global Pain Association Facebook page to share this, please. If you can share this live broadcast, others in your group of friends will have a chance to join us, and we will expand our reach. So we really encourage you to do that. And Susan, before we turn to our special guest, let me ask you how people can get involved in the Global Pain Association.
Well, a couple of ways, Ron. First of all, they can send us all their suggestions on info@globalpain.org. But if they really want to get involved, they can go to our website, globalpain.org, get under get under the tab that's Get Involved, and either donate, volunteer, or however they think that they can help us. And I'm just so looking forward to our expert presentation today. As you know, I too experienced how chronic pain can affect families. My mother was addicted to pain pills for about 40 years. She lived in Omaha, I lived here. I was in denial until I kidnapped her and brought her to San Antonio. So I'm really looking forward to this presentation.
And that intervention was something that I'm sure you thought long and hard about, and it had to be tremendously emotional, but it helped your mom.
It did, and we were together to the very last moment, and that meant so much difference to both of us.
Well, Susan Blackwood, we're going to put you on the shelf for just a couple of moments, and after we talk with Dr. Julie Strench, we will come back to you. Dr. Strench is the Chief Program Officer at Roy Maas Youth Alternatives. She's a licensed professional counselor and does see clients at RMYA's Counseling Center. She received her PhD in counseling from St. Mary's University. She has worked with at-risk children and families in crisis for more than 28 years. And in 2019, she completed the Georgetown University Nonprofit Executive Leadership Program. She is exceptionally well versed to talk about what we were talking about today and how chronic pain is a family matter. And Dr. Strench, it's great to see you. It looks like you're in a sauna somewhere.
Yeah, just in a little retreat. It was great to see you too. I'd already scheduled this, but it matters to me, and I wanted to be here to
Well,
talk
thank
about
you
it.
for fitting us in. When we talk about chronic pain and how it affects families, you heard Dr. Blackwood say that her mother suffered from chronic pain. You had a similar experience.
I do. I do. My mother has rheumatoid arthritis and has since she was a child. And so chronic pain and how she experienced it in our family was something that I had to deal with growing up. And, I attribute a lot of what I do as a clinician today to that experience as a child, not knowing when my mom was feeling well or not feeling well, and learning how to read those subtle cues so I could be somewhere else if she was having a intensive pain moment, or I could, spend time with her when she was feeling great.
How would those intensive pain moments look? And what was it that affected you?
People who experience intensive pain, and she was really unable to find relief through any kind of medical intervention. I mean, she was, when when we hurt, we don't feel good. We're grumpy, we're irritable. Those are all normal reactions to pain. But when someone has this for long periods of time, they don't really want other people around. They don't want to be sociable. And when you're a little kid, you kind of don't know how to be when those things are happening. You're more focused on yourself. You don't really understand and have much empathy or sympathy for an adult, and so my mom would get frustrated, and it would cause tension in the family.
Talk to me a little bit about how that tension and how it did affect the family. What was it that family members experienced?
Well, we never knew when to get close or when to be away. And we didn't really have an effective tool at the time for my mom to be able to tell us when was the time that she needed some distance from us. And so these are things that I've learned over time to help other families that have chronic pain, whether it's a child or an adult, how to help them get along better and be a more cohesive unit. There's two systems of theory that I use and others may use to help deal with that. And one of them is attachment theory. And attachment theory was developed by Bowlby, and he worked in dyads and believed that kids attached to their parents differently, and someone with chronic pain may not develop a secure attachment with their parent, similar to me. So there are three attachment styles that can create communication problems in family dynamics. And that is the anxious avoidant personality, or not personality style, but attachment style, that struggles to communicate their needs. And that was really something that I experienced. There's also the anxious resistant or ambivalent, and these individuals kind of grow up to be unusually self-reliant. They don't want anybody. They don't want to need anybody because they didn't experience being able to get their needs met when they were younger. And then the disorganized relationship style or attachment is a dependent but dismissive. And really, what we're searching for is secure attachment. We can get to a secure attachment, but it requires work. And then family systems theory, which is really about looking at the family through an entire lens, that we are a whole. And if one part of the whole is impacted, the whole family is impacted. And if you see like the raindrops rolling through the river on the screen, that's what family systems looks like. So one impact, one perturbation ripples through the family. And what we want to do is help people understand and families understand that, because they're really interconnected. And those interconnections also impact their friends, their coworkers, their colleagues, things like that.
And if you look at the family dynamics and chronic pain in particular, you've got a slide with a bunch of concentric circles. Obviously, it's all interrelated, and the impact on one impacts the other. How do you unravel all that?
Well, and the place where the family member with chronic pain is in the center, if you'll notice, they're not really connected to the rest of the individuals. And this is where chronic pain, those individuals haven't, maybe accepted their pain problems, and that family members are doing what they can to support that chronic pain member, but they really don't understand them. They don't have a lot of empathy. And so it creates this like island in the center of the family without the healthy connections that an individual with chronic pain really needs. And it also, if you look, there's not really communication. If you see the four family members with the circle around them and that dynamic, those individuals are talking with each other probably about the person with chronic pain, but they're not really including them in the process. And the concentric circles, that person with chronic pain is in the center, but they can also grow and expand to be a support to the system when they need to be, so that other family members that may have needs and need to be supported can go into that very center circle. And so that's what family systems theory and counseling, and also coming to the place where you understand your own chronic pain and come to some kind of acceptance. This is where the dynamic is what we're working towards.
Now, for those of you who may have just joined us, she is Dr. Julie Strench, Chief Program Officer at Roy Moss Youth Alternatives. You're watching the virtual Chronic Pain Education Series brought to you by the Global Pain Association. I'm Ron Aaron Eisenberg, and we thank Julie so much for being with us, and we've got a lot more to cover. Julie, when you consider the chronic pain family member, what is it that the immediate and extended family can do to help them, and where do you get that help? Is counseling an avenue that may be productive?
I definitely consider counseling as a productive way to hold up the mirror and let the family understand what's happening within the family with a chronic pain member. It's important to understand that chronic pain is a relational illness. It's not just you. Oftentimes, chronic members of the family with chronic pain, they isolate themselves intentionally because they don't want to be a burden on other individuals. But it's still impacting the rest of the family. We have to acknowledge that. So it's important to remember that we have to develop coping strategies for the family. They're just going to look a little different.
Why don't you go through the entire list?
Say that again?
Why don't you go through that entire list?
On this slide or on
this slide?
Okay. So what the thing I want people to think about is that the resilience risk model is important to understand, that to identify what are the resilience factors in the family versus the risk factors, which promote pain, adaptation, or exacerbation of pain. So if you are focused on the risk factors, you're focused on the pain intensity, you're focused on the negative aspects of pain, the likelihood of fear avoidance is going to happen of pain, that creates a disability. There's research that actually talks about when we're avoidant of pain in that chronic pain model, the intensive episodes of pain are more intense. And so really what we need to get to is the ability to accept pain so that we can get to the sustainability of a good life and psychological flexibility. Because, we just, when we're in that moment of intense pain and we just focus on that, we forget about all the things that are going on in our life that make things possible to see the good.
I would assume that the person struggling with the chronic pain is aware of the negative impact they're having on those around them, and they must deal with a tremendous amount of guilt as well.
Exactly. Shame and guilt is the mechanisms which create isolation and keep people from wanting to make connection. And yet as humans, we're hardwired to make connections. And so those are the things that get in our way. And so helping that individual and the family with coping strategies and acceptance practices are really important. So the first thing you want to do is develop an understanding of your chronic pain. Like, what's the biology of that? How is it impacting the family? Helping the other family members understand so that they can develop empathy for that individual that has chronic pain. Because if you're an individual, like if you're a family member that doesn't really have pain, it's really hard to understand what pain looks like every single day for that person that is experiencing it. It's important to communicate openly. Let's have some real conversation. Let's some honest and authentic, letting people know what's going on and how we feel about it. Sometimes it's hard to tell people we're angry, but it's important to let them know that we are, so that we can get to healthy and a secure attachment and clear communication. We want to develop strategies for changing pain. So what kind of coping skills can we help the family with so that they can moderate or mediate their pain in some way so they can be a healthy part of the family? And a lot of that is in a holistic mindset. We want to look at the mind-body skills. Will yoga help? Exercise. When we're in chronic pain, our tendency is not to want to exercise, but we know, particularly with a rheumatoid arthritis, the more you exercise and move, the better off you are. But you have to get that first step going before you can change that. And understand your thoughts and impact that pain can have. So cognitive behavioral therapy is a really great place for this, because if you are thinking negative, then you stay negative. We call it stinking thinking, and we want to get you out of that. And then how to transform those thoughts so you can transform your pain. And then the integration part of this, because some days you're going to be better at this than others. So which practices are you better at, and which practices do you have to develop so that you can continue to cope and accept what's happening for you?
Now, I also assume there's no cookie cutter approach to this, that my pain is not your pain, but the way you develop solutions and the recommendations does fit everybody.
Yeah, exactly. You got to try it until you find what works for you. Each family and the family members are going to be different. The important pieces of the recommendations that I'm talking about here is, kind of being honest and authentic, be willing to be vulnerable with your family and your colleagues, and trust your support team, the people that are helping you and want you to be as pain-free as possible. And as part of the family, trust them and let them be your support. Ask for what you need when you need it. And that's not just the chronic family member that I'm talking about. I'm talking about any family member. Sometimes people need breaks when chronic pain issues are going on within the family on a regular and consistent basis. And you got to be okay with letting them take that break so they can come back and be renewed and rejuvenated. Be patient with yourself and your family, and be sure to set clear boundaries and flexible boundaries, and then be kind to yourself and others. And I just tell people, we're not perfect as humans, and sometimes we expect that in other individuals, that it's really important to try again. And I know that when I fail, I want to pick myself back up and fail forward. And that's what I try to teach our family members, so that we are always striving to be better as a family and connected and healthy moving forward.
Well, Dr. Strench, we have about a minute or so left. What haven't you shared with us that you'd like to touch on as kind of a parting, here's the nugget you need to know?
The thing about chronic pain is we truly like to isolate, and we don't want to ask for help. It feels like a failure, and asking for outside help to come and help the family create a new and vibrant connection is really going to make the difference for you as the person with chronic pain, and for your family moving forward and building their own future families and colleagues and friends.
Well, we thank you so much for coming on. And if people want to track you down, you're at Roy Maas Youth Alternatives.
I sure am.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate being here today.
And I'd like to thank Patty and Lisa and Tina and Gloria for sharing this program. And if you want to share it, please go ahead. It'll be up on the Global Pain Association Facebook page for, well, as long as there is a Facebook page. It's on the website as well, and on YouTube. And You can always go back into it if you know a family or an individual struggling with chronic pain. They're going to want to see this. And again, thank you, Julie. Dr. Susan Blackwood, we bring you front and forward. That was very interesting stuff. Would it
Well, it
help?
was Julie the last 40 years of my life.
Ah.
You know, I think, Ron, that's one of the things that has been very, very self-satisfying in terms of working as a volunteer with the board and with the advisory council. There are so many things that many of us don't know that Global Pain Association has opened our eyes to, and other things that we can learn as well. And so that's why we appreciate so much people sending in their ideas on other topics that they'd like us to cover. I don't think we're going to run out of topics, but we certainly hope we can help many, many people with their chronic pain issues.
And we've got several more weeks to go. We come to you every other week through December.
And thanks, Ron, again for your help. And thanks to all the sponsors and people that have made donations to make the series possible. We want to extend it as long as possible. So if you can help us, go to the globalpain.org website under Get Involved and let us know if you can volunteer or send even a small donation. Thank you.
And the donations help keep this going.
Absolutely. No donations too small.
And remember, this seminar is up live on Facebook page. It'll be on the website as well as our YouTube page. And you can share all of them going way back to May that we have done. And I guarantee you there's something that will be of interest and help for you. Thank you, Susan Blackwood. We appreciate it.
I want to mention that we're going to have, as a result of the great assistance that we've had from the board and your staff, we're going to have a newsletter that's going to come out October 1st. And everybody that has subscribed to our lists or is getting information from us from Constant Contact can expect that coming very soon. And hopefully it'll give as much information as we've been able to carry through on the series.
Wow. It's a tremendous resource. Thank you, Susan Blackwood. Appreciate it. Coming up next week, 2 Saturdays, next week, a week after next, in other words, Saturday, October 10th at noon, we talk about healing with humor. And our good friend, comedian Cleto Rodriguez will join us. Cleto is star of Where's Cleto on WOAI and KBB TV. He also has a show streaming now on Amazon Prime Video, October 10th. Healing with Humor with Cleto Rodriguez, and we certainly appreciate Cleto doing that. Where's Cleto? He'll be on this program for the Global Pain Association. I want to thank all of you who joined us today. Thank you for watching our previous series as well. You can go to our website, globalpain.org, and you can link to all of the programs that we have done so far. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. I'm Ron Aaron Eisenberg for the Global Pain Association. Bye-bye. Talk to you soon. Okay.